Hey everybody, welcome to Devil Dog _88. Good to have everybody here. Happy Easter weekend. Whew. So today we want to talk about where's Nancy Guthrie? Where is Nancy Guthrie? Back to the beginning. Because you always got to go back to the beginning to see what you missed. Always. Hey, what's going on, Lisa Page? Good to have you. We're always going to go ahead and try to go back to the beginning to see what happened or what we can come up with. That's the whole point. And trying to understand some dynamics that a lot of individuals haven't really thought about or maybe even looked into as to why, how come, and who was all involved. You know what I mean? So, and then you can ask anything you want to ask as far as what you think of the case. But I want to go back to the beginning once again, and I want to talk about literally what could have been missed. Now, you understand my background, law enforcement, almost 20 years, done investigations, done translations, done interviews, worked many cases. That's my story. Also, veteran, combat veteran, United States Marine Corps, medically retired. That's who I am. So the thing that I'm going to try to get you to understand is, what is it? All right? What is it that we are missing, or what could be missing, and how does that play into the law enforcement realm? Are you the Dev Dog from Exploring with Jim? Yes. Yes, I am. Yes. Yes, I am, Lisa. So, I watched him last night. I try to watch him all the time. Love Jim. Love Exploring with Jim. I recommend him all the time to everybody. So, here's the thing. My perspective is all based, literally, simplify. You got it. My whole premise is trying to get people to understand from a law enforcement mentality why things happen the way they do, why, and things that you need to look at to try to get an understanding of what is going on, okay? And sometimes when you're not in law enforcement, it's hard to kind of, get into the weeds and figure out why this is happening, why it's not happening, all right? Sometimes it's just very difficult. But it's because you haven't really had a lot of experience in law enforcement. Now, there's a lot of out there individuals who have, and they get it. And I talk to them. I talk to people. I ask questions with other literally people who have that same genre of background. And you're right. It's very, very hard. No doubt about it. It is very difficult. But when you have somebody that's been there, it's a lot easier to literally make sense of what is happening, okay? It's easier to make sense. It may not be easier to, figure out what happened, right? But it definitely makes it a whole lot clearer. Experience matters big time. Experience matters big time. One of the things that I like about Jim, Exploring with Jim, is that Jim is what I would consider someone who literally goes out there and explores literally. I'm talking literally. He is out there searching on his bike. And, many people call themselves, searching for Nancy Guthrie. Many people will say this, that, and the other. There's only really maybe a couple people. And Jim is probably at the top of the line. And I say that respectfully. He is probably literally at the top of the line as far as I'm concerned. Now, there's a difference between reporting and searching, okay? You can report all you want from the front steps or from the outside of the road to Nancy's house. The idea is that, what are you getting other than what you're seeing, right? What are you getting other than what literally people are seeing, right? You're just basically regurgitating what you are watching. But when you go out there and you start searching, there is so much, literally so much that you could find. Okay, so much that you could find. And yes, it is a needle in a haystack, no doubt. But you're never going to have that opportunity to find that needle if you're not out there. It's just that simple. It is just that simple. So when people call themselves searchers, be out there searching, because that's what it is. Okay? And when you want to call yourself, you're just reporting on what's going on, then say you're just reporting what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? That's how it's supposed to be. Got to do the work. Got to do the work. Now, for me, I am just reporting to you from a perspective of experience, okay? From a perspective of experience, how and why the dynamics happen the way they do, okay? That's what I do. That's the difference of what I bring. Kind of like there was a gentleman yesterday named Nico, once again, also retired Marine, law enforcement, investigator, the whole 9 yards. Now, that man has understanding on how everything plays out, right? He knows because he's been in the trenches. He gets it, okay? That's why he doesn't do the podcast. He doesn't do I have a channel. He doesn't do anything because he's all about business. And as it should be, all about business, okay? Because that's what he knows. People like him, they have the understanding of what they're looking for. Jose says he's focused. Yes, he is, Lisa. Jose, welcome, Jose. Jose says, how much money search already and how long will it take, brother? In my opinion, Jose, when it comes to the elderly, when it comes to children, when it comes to the vulnerable, when it comes to all these things, honestly, money should never be an issue. Okay? Money should never be an issue. And the reason I say that is because the reality is that those are the most vulnerable people that we have in our society. Okay? Those are the most vulnerable people we have in our society. Now, how much money is this costing? I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. And that's not something that I would normally ask anyway, because I have no clue. I'm not the bookkeeper, so I would have a hard time trying to give you that honest answer. But what I will say is this. I would like to think that when it comes to going ahead and finding somebody, literally finding somebody, a woman, a person of maybe some mental challenges, handicap wise, a child, okay, those should never be a price tag. That should never be a price tag to what we're trying to accomplish. Because here's the thing, everybody, a lot of these people can't fend for themselves. And that's where we come in as a society. We understand why it is so important to go ahead and literally give it your all. So, hard for me to answer that question, Jose. I don't know how much is being spent. I do know that the reality is that the reality is literally the fact that there is a need to find out what's going on with Nancy. Because here's the thing. This case is going to get solved one way or the other. And let me explain to you why I say that, everybody. It's got to get solved, because if not, every time Dick and Harry will be trying to pull the same thing. And then your city, your community, your area, your state is going to be in a situation where they're going to be dealing with massive, what I call ransom, kidnapping for ransom. It's going to be the quick way. People are going to try to literally, go to that direction. So they can't let these type of things literally go ahead and just fall by the wayside. It does not work. You have to solve it. And we have the information right in front of us. Corey says, congratulations on coming out. Amen. Nobody cares. Well, that's fine. That's fine, America. That's fine, American flag. But I think a lot of people care. I think everybody cares because we all have moms. We all have moms. We all have kids. We all have people that we love. Okay, we all can relate. That's why it does matter. Do you think her body will be found? If so, in what state? Ashes, bones, DNA. That's interesting. Do I think her body will be found? I'm not sure it will. The only way it's going to be found is if we have a witness and or somebody finally comes out and says the wrong thing at the wrong time. Okay, that's usually how it works. Do you think that the bones will be found? Well, if you can't find the body, it's pretty hard to find the bones, right? Because the body's probably not a whole lot there left, to be honest. So that would be difficult. DNA, it really depends. At this point, here's the thing, everybody. At this point, we are literally, understand this, we have seen, in my opinion, we have seen the perp already. We know who the perp is. We know who the perp and or perps are. We've seen them. They've been on our live streams. They've been there. We just haven't put those pieces together. But make no mistake, we have seen them already. It's trying to figure out the pieces where the connections are made. That's where we're at right now. Give me a second, everybody. All right, I'm back, everybody. So, yesterday we talked about a medium. We talked about literally a medium, and we talked about a medium and what she said. Now, I told you all before, I'm not literally someone who necessarily believes in a lot of this stuff. That's not the way I roll. Okay? But I think as an investigator, you have to understand that you have to put all your personal thinkings aside and just take all the information you can possibly take and then decipher it to the best of your ability. It's that old theory I told you guys yesterday. It's like eating chicken, right? You eat the chicken and you throw away the bones. What doesn't make sense and what doesn't work, you just chuck it aside. But if it makes sense, hey, it's not worth going ahead. It's not a bad idea just to go ahead and look at it again, right? Because you know it's leading you somewhere. And here's the thing, we're not getting any information, are we? So therefore, every part of information that we get is very crucial and important. What do you think? What do you think, Joel? I have no clue how this will end. I really, Lisa Page asked, what do you think? What do you think, Jose? I have no clue how this will end. Honestly, this is going to have to happen where we're all literally searching and doing for the right, doing the things that no one else. You got to think outside that box. But the people, the perpetrators, no doubt in my mind, we already seen them. They've already been exposed. It's just a matter of trying to figure out how to identify them in this case. I believe they said that they totally destroyed the body into ashes. It's very well taken. That's a very good point. Can't argue with that. I mean, how do you argue with something like that? And got rid of the teeth. I mean, that goes without saying, and no doubt, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, here's the thing, folks. I think she literally is buried somewhere, in my opinion. Do I think she is unalive? Yes, I think she is not alive. I think she is totally unalive. No doubt about it. That is my personal take because of how long and her health and how long she has literally gone without her medications. And I believe that literally when she passed, it was pretty quick in the process. It wasn't something that was drawn out and long. That's at least 4 people involved. I say more. When they talked to the median said that when she was talking to Nancy through the medium, she said, when she was asked, she said 4 people. You have one. Give me a second. You have one person, literally one person that is watching for traffic, okay? Watching to see who goes by, because you got to remember the time frame of all this is between the end part of the 31st of January to the 1st of February. That's when they're saying this happened, okay? So the idea that if you had one person watching, making sure no cars were going by. We know cars go by often, right? Because we saw the video cams of the house cameras that literally were showing cars going back and forth down the street, right? So we know literally that there is cars there, cars going by, okay? That's one. We have to have a lookout. You have to have a lookout to literally be able to know what's happening, okay? The other thing is you have to go ahead and have one in the back and one in the front, more than likely. Now, I've always said there's a minimum of 3, a minimum. But 4 would be perfect. A lookout, a driver over here waiting to get the call to bring the car up, a person at the front and a person at the back. That would make sense to me. So when that median said that Nancy said it was 4 people, I could see that wholeheartedly. Very easy. Easy. I mean, literally so easy to have 4 people. Here's the thing, everybody. Amongst thieves and people who do crimes, there is no loyalty. Okay? And you ask me why I say that. Well, because the more people you have, the more people you're going to have the potential of doing drugs, literally, maybe drinking too much, and they're going to say things that are going to give up something by in their terms by an accident, right? They're going to say things that they shouldn't, and that's what's going to cause, this to come out. So people right away are going to literally sink their own ship. But that's because they have too many people involved. 4 people, that's solid. 3 people, it's even solid. The less the better, because then if you're able to do it by yourself, that's ideal, because then it's only you, right? So if you go ahead and say something, then it's just you. You sunk your own ship, right? But when you have more people involved, it is that simple for someone to be somewhere, get drunk, be high, whatever the case may be, and start running his mouth to the point where stuff gets leaked out. It's just that simple, right? But I do believe there is 3 to 4 people. Now, do I think that this medium that I listen to, and I listen to this because I was listening to a lot of things at nighttime, trying to find new information to be able to go ahead and share with you all. And I come across the medium, and my gosh, I mean, I thought, what the heck, I'm not into this kind of thing, but let's just hear it out. Hey, spoke volumes to me. I have 3 people that are on my top 3 list, literally, that I believe one of them is involved, if not 2 or 3 of them involved. The 3 people that I have, that medium confirmed one, which was on the 3rd of my list. Now, it's not gospel what she says, right? The medium. It's not gospel. It's not like you can take it to, the judge and say, I need a warrant. Okay? It just doesn't work that way. It's not gospel. But what it does, it's almost like a polygraph, right? Polygraphs are not admitted in court, right? But what do they tell the investigator, a polygraph? A polygraph tells the investigating person who's investigating her that this person lied on this question, this question, this question, this question, okay? So that's what the polygraph is there for. Not to anymore convict, but to give the investigator the idea that, yes, I need to ask him about these questions, that it shows that he was being deceitful, or that he was not telling the truth, or that he was really fidgety. It's a tool in your toolbox that you can use. Now, I get it that a medium is not something credible, if you will. But you got to know, the lady that I listened to was one of the ladies that literally helped find one of the bombers of 9/11, his location and whereabouts. Okay? Good morning, good warning, Wilmo. Good to have you. So that's the idea, is that she has credibility. And in being a medium, or being a person who, maybe, what's that word? The one where they go and they can, see what's going on. I can't think of the freaking name. It's losing my brain. But the idea that these people, everything they do is based on credibility. If they have no credibility, well, then no one's going to believe Jack, right? Don't forget, like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Just to let you know when I'm going on live. Do me that favor. So the idea that, this person has credibility speaks volume. Because try to find people like this with credibility, and, you know, it's kind of hard to find. That's why there's a lot of skeptics. But when this person has done this before, then you ask the question, wow, well, you can't use that. It has no credibility, right? You can't use that. There's no credibility there. Okay, you follow me? That's how and why when I listened to her, I was so astonished. She gave out the number 2006. When she was asked questions, she was given answers. She gave out the number, or she stated that everybody liked him at first. Okay? Now, listen to what I'm saying. Everybody liked him at first. Okay? She also stated that Nancy, through the medium, was saying that this person is a liar. This person is setting up somebody. This person is, and I'm trying to recall everything because I watched some last night again because I wanted to go over it again. But the things she was saying, I mean, oh my God. I was like, wow, like, okay, 2006. I knew right away when she said 2006 who she was referring to. And that was TC, a family member. And when she was asked, she asked the person to go ahead and literally, if it was a family member, and the person said yes. The medium said that Nancy said yes, which you could hear her say that, but it wasn't her per se, it was through the medium. And then on top of that, you also heard the fact that the medium said, when she asked, was it just that one person? And the response was 4. Now, I've always told you there's a minimum of 3, but now you're hearing 4. And then the person was asked, how did they do it? Bed. Basically, it took her from her bed. And then she also stated, rock hit me. Some of these clues, they're just clues. Now, like I said, it's not gospel, but it gives you an eye into what could have happened, what probably happened. The 2006 is when TC and his wife got married. Nancy Guthrie's daughter. That was the year they got married. That's why that date was special when she said it. Okay? That's when they got married. The year. The liar, it's probably when they were asking him, did you have any involvement? Did you know anything? Yada, yada, yada. Obviously, he said no. The family member, well, I mean, it really fits his narrative. What makes what she says anything more than her opinion? Nothing. Nothing, Wilmo. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing more than her opinion. Okay? But my thinking is, when you don't have nothing, man, you try to get anything. And when it fits it starts to fit where you're thinking, my God, it makes you wonder. And you have to remember her credibility. Hey, you can't deny her credibility. She has literally solved some things in the past. Thank you so much, Jose. I appreciate you. Thank you. Everybody, get in the chat. Give me a second, everybody. So that's what and why, as Lisa put it, her credibility speaks volume. Literally, it speaks volume. You can't go ahead and say, well, it's just her opinion. It may be her opinion. And like I said, just like I said before, I'm not a person who really gets into the median thing, okay? That's not what I roll. But when you're not getting answers, my gosh, you're getting anything you possibly can get, right? You're getting anything that you can get, right? That's how it works. And as an investigator, you have to be open-minded to hear all the information that's coming in, okay? But the things that she was saying really fit the person, one of the people that I was really looking. Like I said, he was the third on my list. Wilmo says, I don't know anything about her. Let me tell you what her thing is, okay? Let me pull it up. Just give me a second. Hang on, let me get my seatbelt on. Hang on. Lisa says, be right back. Okay, I'm going to tell you what her name is so you can look it up, okay? Let's see. I'm going to give you what her name is. And if anybody can write this down on the chat, I'd really appreciate it, okay? So it is going to be, all right. So her handle is KYNETONPARMAL. Comes to be what I think Kentucky, KYNETO paranormal. Look her up. Mary Celeste. Pull up what I just gave you, watch it, and tell me what you think. Once again, for anybody who wants to hear that there's 3 parts to it, it's KYNETONPARMAL, paranormal. Look that up. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Sibling Gray. Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. How are you doing, Sibling Gray? Good to have you. So see, look that up. Do some research on her. See what she has to say. Because I take everything with a grain of salt. Everything with a grain of salt. Okay? So I don't like just bank on anything. I take everything with a grain of salt. And you have to. If you have to, I do remember you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Yes. Siblings, yay. Glad to have you. Awesome. Don't forget, like and subscribe, everybody. Give me a second. Okay, everybody. So that pretty much, when you look at that, you're going to find why. And like I said, I'm not necessarily someone who believes in this kind of thing, but I have to be able to put my personal feelings aside so that I could go ahead and literally try to figure out why it could be important or why it could be a clue, you know? It's not saying it is. It could turn out to be nothing. It could be a big nothing burger. Then again, it could be a big ass Whopper. Just really depends, right? But here's the kicker. If you don't look and you don't take any type of information with you, well then it's definitely going to be a nothing burger, right? It's just common sense, everybody. Great to have you, everybody, in here. Thank you so much. So there's a lot of things that this medium has said, and I watched all 3 parts, and I mean, she talked about things that are so very, like, it fits Nancy's image. It fits her. She was feisty. You know, she was literally feisty. She was literally, she wasn't necessarily as mobile as maybe a younger person, which is understandable, but she was feisty in the sense that she was very, very, she had a good head on her shoulders. And that's what you got to take from this, everybody. Remember, click like, subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Just let you know when I'm coming on. Egypt Mania, hello. Just found your channel about Nancy. What happened? I'm so sorry. I missed out on asking you to repeat it. Well, I got these all saved on all these lives get saved. So pick up where we're at now, Egypt man. Pick up where we left off, because the reality is that they're all saved to my channel. Subscribe to my channel, doesn't cost you anything, and you can go back and see all my lives and all my videos that I've done. But it doesn't cost you anything, you know what I mean? So do that. So, but thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you. So that's where I'm leaning to, that the 3 people that I've always suspected from day one, now get this, and really understand what I'm saying. The 3 people, and I'll say day 1, day 2, being realistic, because I think day 1, we just knew what was happening, but we didn't know what happened. But when this started coming out, I knew from I felt from the very beginning on who my suspects were. I would say in a matter of a week, I had my 3 down, literally. I haven't got any confirmed to take them out of the equation. You know, you understand what I'm saying? Well, we'll just look into it more. And hey, if you wanna find anything on her, I watched several other mediums. So maybe I got another medium in the midst of another medium. But the reality is, you know, take it with a grain of salt. It is what it is. Okay, I'm not giving you anything that I haven't seen, read, or searched. Okay, nothing. That's not how I roll. But go do some back information, check out some other mediums, and it's possible maybe I did cross up a medium. The idea is that information is important. Okay, doesn't make it factual, doesn't make it court. You know, no judge is going to give you a warrant. But I tell you what, it does give you an idea when you suspect certain things. Haywood Pittman, USMCR 0311. Good to have you, my friend. Good to have you. Guys, go ahead. No, I understand, Wemo. I get you. Because law enforcement, when you're dealing with stuff like this, it's all about facts, right? All about facts. It's all about facts. So I get it. I get it. And the only thing I can say is that, yes, I understand, because it is about facts. This is just giving you an idea of maybe something that's in that mist. Lisa Page. Give me a second, everybody. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. So the other person, medium, that I watched, and maybe you look at that one because it could be that one. She also was saying a lot of things, and her name was Miriam. And I think she had spoke to JLR, I believe. And she's out there. Maybe I'm thinking of her, Miriam. No one is saying that any of these are factual. Don't misunderstand me. No one's saying that anything of this is factual. What I'm saying is, as an investigator, you just kind of like, when you have a really gut feeling, make no mistakes, when you're investigating, a lot of this comes back to also how you can go ahead and what you feel as you're investigating, what that piece is, right? So a lot of it is trying to give yourself that notion as to, could it be, what does it hurt to check out? What does it hurt to go ahead and look into? You know what I mean? And I think that's the reality of it all. No information is bad information. No communication is bad communication. You know what I'm saying? That old rule of thumb that no question is a stupid question. You know what I mean? It's that type of thing. Okay. But I still think that person is on third on my list. I'm just saying. Heavy Wood, Semper Fi, good to have you. Wilmo, I get it, that you have to use theories to find fact, as in theories make you ask questions that make look and different paths, but they have to lead to a fact. Absolutely. You're 100% right. No doubt about it, Wilmo. No doubt about it. That's exactly what I'm saying. And you just kind of maybe explained it a little bit better, but yes. That's pretty much it. You know, at the end of the day, everything you do and everything you say and everything you search and everything you go ahead and find and all the information you get, inevitably all that's going to have to come into what? A big fact. Literally a fact. Because no court's going to give you any type of conviction for just a theory, right? Gotta have fact. So that's where we're at. Egypt, I've been trying like hell to get people to search both Evergreen Cemetery and Holy Hope Cemetery on Oracle. I'm not at all convinced the screaming woman 911 call isn't related to the persons to as per nanos. And you know what? Thank you so much for saying that, Egypt Mania. Egypt Mania, thank you for saying that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because that is my number one suspect. Okay? And he goes, my opinion, he goes by the initials LD. That is my number one person of interest. Literally. And you're right on the money. There's no way I believe that that was a coincidence. Thank you for saying that, because you know what? Yeah, I've been saying this. If you go look at my videos from the very beginning, there's something there. You know, to have as many things that have happened, to consider them all coincidence. Think about that for a minute. To consider them coincidence, it's almost laughable. The white Kia Soul that was going down the road hauling ass. Remember the white Kia Soul? That was just a coincidence. Yet we have a guy that I believe his name now, last name has been identified as last name Lopez. The guy that was trying to get into the back of that house through the fence in the back, right? That guy, through a lot of work that Sleuth Intuition did, a lot of work that their medium had done, they had a medium as well. And also, if you go look at Sleuth Intuition, you'll find that he also, a medium, and then Doug goes live, I think it's Northport. If you watch their stuff too, I'm telling you, you're going to be like, wow, it is so interesting. So interesting. I mean, you just can't make it up, everybody. And those individuals literally has that individual. How can you deny it? When you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Go look at Sleuth Intuition and see the last, I think it's his last or second to the last video that he has, and go look at he has a medium on his show, and then go look at Doug Gone Live, Northport. Certain people I watch that I enjoy. Okay, I don't watch everybody, but certain people that I like. And I tell you what, information second to none as far as I'm concerned. And what kills me, baby, that's a poor choice of words, but what really surprises me is that a lot of these people, those people that I just mentioned, really have no, that I'm aware of, have no law enforcement background. And yet, kudos to them for being able to piece the pieces together. Kudos to them. But I am with you, Egypt Mania. I am with you 110%. That blue car with the woman screaming out of it, I don't buy that for a minute that didn't have something to do with it. No doubt about it. That's, to me, is just, and then to say that is a, how can I say, a coincidence. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that one bit. The white car that I was telling you about, the guy that was trying to get into the back of that house, remember he was trying to unlatch something. He had 2 backpacks on his back, right? You go look into Doug's live and you watch that where he blows up. Literally, he literally expands the shot that we were all given, and he expands it. And when he expanded, this guy is walking. When the cop stops him, clears him, and the cop leaves, he starts walking away from that fence line. And as he's walking, you think he's going to the car that's right there, which is almost like a grayish Nissan. But instead, he's actually keeps walking straight. And when he blows up that picture, you see what? A Kia Soul, white in color. What's the odds of that? What's the odds of that, everybody? Ask yourself that question. Go look at that and you'll see what I'm talking about. He takes that photo of the guy trying to get into the fence, right? The cops made contact with them because the owners called that someone was trying to break into their house. Okay? So the owners call the cops. The cops do show up. They do talk to him. I don't know what story he gave. Hey, I'm trying to get into my, in my back house so I can put my stuff away. Just got back from work or whatever in the hell he said. But whatever he said, the officer bought. Okay. All of a sudden, when the officer leaves, it shows him walking back towards that silverish or grayish Nissan looking thing. And then he passes right by it and keeps walking. And what Doug does is Doug's going live. What he does is he expands that picture, and lo and behold, there's a white Kia Soul there. Coincidence? So now we're thinking it's a coincidence that you have a white Kia Soul with this guy. And then later, just to boot, later, the owner of the house comes out and says, that guy doesn't live here. That's not his house. He was trying to break in. And you're like, what? So you understand what I'm saying? So the guy who owns the house, they called the cops. They said, oh, he was just trying to get into his house from the fence and he was having trouble with his latch. Really? Because the owner came out and said, no, that guy doesn't live here. We don't know who that guy is. He doesn't live here. Hello? Think about that for a minute, everybody. Think about that. Interesting. Very interesting. And Nano's in my opinion, jumping the gun like he's always has, or it always appears, at least during this case, saying, all the family is cleared. Well, you can't just clear people because you want to, because you like them, because you know who they are. That doesn't fly. It doesn't work. Okay, it takes a long time to clear an individual. Because when you go and you do an investigation on an individual and you question an individual, if you really suspect that he might have something, you turn everything in his life upside down. Okay, you turn it all upside down. You find out who his friends are. You find out who he hangs out with. You find out if there's a connection, the band members. You find out everything you possibly know. And then you turn their people upside down until you go down the line and then finally figure either, yeah, we got something here or we don't. That's how it works. That is all how it works. Egypt Mania. Nancy could be locked, trapped inside a private mausoleum. Yeah, very possible. Very possible. Wilmo, I guess I'm saying that if we're running the investigation, paranormal leads would be down the list and tips to investigate. True. But let's say that you're running that case, Wilmo, and you're not getting any leads, and you're not getting any headway, and you're not getting any information. Then at what point do you go, man, I've got to really get outside that box because we're just not getting anything. You follow me? You follow what I'm saying? At what point do you say, man, I gotta check out everything because there's just not enough here. Lisa says, Devil Dog, so do you still suspect Lopez, although L.E. said otherwise? He is my second person of interest, Lisa. He is my second person of interest. Yes, he is my second person of interest. And my first person of interest is LD. And my third person of interest that I honestly believe one of them have something to do with it. I could be wrong. Hey, I'm human. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll say, hey, I was wrong. You know, I'm not too big to be proud. But the third person that I want to know is literally TC, a family member. The reason I have issues with TC being cleared, everybody, is because of this reason. When he came in and he dropped off Nancy at 9:50 p.m. after they had dinner, they ate and played games and whatever, okay? After that happened, he dropped her off. There's no video camera, no still shot, no picture showing TC dropping the grandma off, or I'm sorry, the mother-in-law off. No picture, no still video, nothing, zero, nada, showing literally Nancy being dropped off. They do show the garage door, says that they had a log that the garage door opened and then closed 2 minutes later. But nothing, and I do mean nothing, shows him pulling in. 9:50 at night, it is pitch dark. You can't even hardly see your hand in front of you. Okay? You gotta have your headlights on to be able to maneuver in that area because there's no light poles. There's nothing there, right? There's no lights. There's no lights on the streets. There's nothing. It is dark. Hell, I would say it's even so bad, so bad that you don't even know where the houses are at from the road unless you live there, and even then it's difficult. So there is no or videos from the house camera of Nancy showing any type of picture of TC dropping her off, as well as no picture of TC leaving. Now you say, well, leaving, yeah, because you would see the brake lights come on, right? When you hit your brake, because he has to get back on the road. So he comes like this, goes to the garage door opens, supposedly. Garage door opens, 2 minutes later it closes, because she went through her garage door, as they said, and then all of a sudden, he leaves. There's a road up here, the road is in front, he comes, stops, you would see the brake lights come on. Now you say, well, I know, but how? Well, here's the thing. How were they able to get that still photo and that video from that perp that was in front of Nancy's house? How were they able to get that information from Nancy's house? Think about it for a minute. How were they able to get on the 11th that other individual that was around her house? Because remember, there was 2 photos, different times. So now you ask the question, how is it that they're able to get cars that are driving by, white Kia Soul and many others, that night, but they're not able to get somebody who pulls into their driveway, drops off mother-in-law, then leaves and doesn't get the brake lights in a pitch dark area? Come on, everybody. That's why I don't understand how anybody could rule out TC. You would have to show pictures, videos, or something to justify, yes, we saw him leave, we saw him get there, we saw him leave, and do they even know what way he went home? Think about that for a minute. Do they have cameras all the way leading him back home? All they have to do is, most of these places have cameras, right? He had to go home somehow, right? What path did you take, TC, when you went home? What path did you take? What was your route? I don't remember. We might have too much wine that night, you know, when mother-in-law was here. You follow what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. Yes, I don't believe any of this garbage about people being cleared, and or this garbage about Oh, well, yeah, we checked that out. Okay. As far as the blue car, let's go to the blue car. Okay, that the woman was screaming outside the window, right? There was a 911 call, right? There was a 911 call. Okay. When did that 911 call come in? And at what point did they go ahead and stop that blue car or dark colored car, blue in color or whatever? When did it get caught? When did they stop it? From the time they got the 911 call to the time that they actually found the car. Because they did find the car, according to Nanos. Sheriff Nanos said that they made contact with the vehicle and that it had nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie. Okay? So what time, how long did it take them to find that vehicle? Was it a half an hour? Was it 45 minutes? Was it an hour? How long was it in between? It's important. Because now think about this. Let's just say hypothetically that Nancy was in that car. That's the car that she was in. Let's just say, because you got to remember when she became unalive, according to the disconnection of her pacemaker to her watch, because her watch was left on the dresser back at the house, right? Who's to say that when this woman was screaming outside that window, okay? Now, you don't even know if they had, apparently it's been reported that they supposedly had walkie-talkies. They didn't have phones with them. Fill me out here. They didn't have phones with them because they'd be able to get tracked by the pings. So let's just say for a minute that person screaming from the car, 911 gets a call. Hey, we heard a woman driving by in a blue, there was somebody in a blue car hanging out the back of the window screaming for help. Let's just say that they have one of them little portable, let's say they're like, picture this, you're the driver. Hey, shut her up. We're going to get caught if you don't shut her up now. All of a sudden, someone back there goes, kapow. Someone in the back goes, kapow, shut up, you whatever. Then what happens? Because it was almost in that time frame. When, you follow me? Then what happens? Her heart can't take it. And at that point, she becomes unalive. Now everybody's freaking out because it wasn't supposed to go this way. It wasn't supposed to happen. This was not in the plans. So now everybody's freaking out in the house. Hey, I think she's unalive. What? Check her pulse. No, I think she's unalive. What I'm giving you is very probable scenario that no one's talking about. So what do they do? Oh my God, we got to get her out of here. Maybe they go and they literally go to the nearest spot and they dump the body. Only know where they know where it's at. Okay, you got to follow me. Then all of a sudden they leave. And they're all worried like, oh God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Next thing you know, they get pulled over from the cops. Okay, at whatever time that is. All of a sudden, the cop says, hey, now follow me. I'm going to play law enforcement here. Hey, how you doing today? Hey, we got a call that there was a 911 of a woman in a car similar to yours, or a blue car, that was yelling for help. Is everything okay? Is everything okay? Oh yeah, officer, it's my boyfriend. We just got angry. We were mad. We were yelling at each other, but it was no physical contact. Because by law, if there's physical contact on a domestic, someone goes to jail. By law. Okay, they don't give you that decision no more to make. Somebody's supposed to go to jail. So the person says, yeah, no, there was no contact. It was just a verbal. It's all good. We're fine now. Everything's fine. Okay, you sure everybody's good? No contact, no hitting anybody? Nope, nobody hit anybody. Okay, all right. You have a good day. Thank you. Now I'm playing cop here. Hey, headquarters. This is badge number, done. Be advised, I made contact with that vehicle. It was just a verbal dispute. Boyfriend, girlfriend type of deal. There was no physical contact. Everything's fine. 10-8. You don't think that could have happened just like that? Seriously? Are you serious? What did he see? Because everybody always thinks it's about what you see. But I'm here to tell you it's not always what you see, it's what you don't see. It's what you don't see that sometimes is the factor. And you say, what do you mean? What did he see? He saw maybe 3 people in the car, a woman, maybe a woman and 2 men, maybe 4 people, 2 men, 3 men and a woman. Think about that for a minute. What doesn't he see? Possibly Nancy. You think that's crazy? You think that's far-fetched? You think that's out of bounds, out of play? No, absolutely not. Matter of fact, I can't count the numerous times I've come across individuals looking for a vehicle because there was a possible domestic violence going on. You have no idea how many times I stopped somebody. Look, middle of the night. Hey, so-and-so, got a call for possible domestic. You got everything all right? Yeah, yep. No one got hurt. Hey, why don't you step out of the car for a minute? They step out of the car. I write down all their information, who they are, what they are, their names, in case later this comes out that it was a domestic. Did the officer who made contact with them, the deputy, or the city cop, did they write down who was on the car? We don't know that. We don't know if they wrote anything in the car, of who was all in there. Now, here's my theory. No one really knew that Nancy was gone until when? Until the church called the family and said, your mom did not show up for church. What time was that? I thought it was like 9, maybe 9:30 a.m., somewhere in there. So if they're reporting that this probably happened about 2:30, 2:40, 2:20, somewhere in there that she was taken, look how much time has lapsed. That officer, that deputy, or whoever stopped that vehicle, they wouldn't even known Nancy was missing at that time. Correct? So if they didn't know Nancy, they're not looking for Nancy. Think about that. And I think the officer would have known something was up if she saw an old lady with no shoes and pajamas on, right? Definitely that would have brought their attention, you would think. I sure as hell hope. You follow where I'm going with this? Am I giving you facts? No. Am I giving you probabilities that things that have happened in the past? Absolutely. Why would we think that didn't happen? And then they go back when everything calms down, maybe a couple hours later, they go back, they grab the body, they know where it's at. They put it in their trunk, they go somewhere, and they dispose of it. Now, here's the kicker. Now they're still panicking because a simple something that was supposed to be so simple has become so complicated. And they're looking at serious prison time, literally. Because now in a commission of a felony, you have another charge, involuntary manslaughter, involuntary murder. They do have the death penalty. So they're freaking out. Next thing you know, we got to get rid of this car. They go in, try to clean up what they can. They let the car go over this area where maybe they staged the car to go over like a little cliff area, not a cliff, but a little down the hill somewhere. Runs into some poles, trees, or whatever. Car's total. They call a wrecker. Wrecker comes. Oh, what happened? Oh man, I just missed the road or whatever. Blah 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 blah. Car gets taken and it's parked. Insurance company comes later. They have to verify that it's a total loss. They do. They take the vehicle. I haven't heard anything about where that vehicle's at. Who had a blue Charger back then? LD. How did it crash? No one knows. No one knows. Think about that for a minute. No one knows. No one knows how it crashed or when it crashed. Hell, I've never even heard of a accident report number. You follow where I'm going with this? When he's asked by Brianna Whitney, a crime reporter from Tucson, everybody knows who she is. When he's asked by her about did you have another car? What does he say? Oh yeah, I had a blue Charger. I totaled. It was totaled. That had nothing to do with Nancy's case. That has nothing to do with Nancy. Oh really? Says who? You follow where I'm going? Same man that when he was served a search warrant for his vehicle at Culver's on his Road Ranger, which ain't cheap, by the way. And from my understanding, doesn't have a job, but he does a lot of odd jobs in and out. You follow me so far? All of a sudden, he literally says, when the cops go up to his car, the very first thing he says out of his mouth is this about Nancy Guthrie? He said that. Is this about Nancy Guthrie? Who does that? Shoot. Most people will go, hey, officer, did I do something wrong? You know, I was just getting a burger here at Culver's. Did I do something wrong? No. He says, is this about Nancy Guthrie? The officer says, hey, we have a search warrant. We have a search warrant for your vehicle. We have a search warrant. And we have a search warrant, and we need to take your vehicle and see what we have in here. Here's the warrant. And then he says, oh, okay. But then he says, do you want to see my phone too? You can look at my phone. I didn't have it with me Saturday night. It was on my dresser in my room, in my bedroom. Think about that for a minute. Who says that? Cop didn't even ask him for that. Cop didn't even say anything about that. And he's telling the cop, hey, you can look in my phone if you want to search my phone. I didn't have it with me Saturday night. You can look through it. It was on my dresser Saturday night. We live in a digital world, everybody. A digital frickin' world. Everybody has their phone. Everybody waits for the weekend to go out and go do things. Everybody waits thank God it's Friday, right? Live up for the weekend. That's what the majority of Americans do. And yet, on the day that you are supposed to literally be like not have any obligations, you're going to leave your phone at home on the dresser all night, Friday night or Saturday night. Does that make any sense to you? You follow where I'm going? He shaves his goatee when he does the interview with Brianna Whitney. He shaves his mustache and goatee, cleans himself up, probably even trims his hair for that matter. Wears long sleeve all the way to his wrist, sleeve, possibly to hide all the tattoos, more than likely. Wears a button-up shirt with his long sleeves, maybe to what? Hide the what? Tattoos, maybe? And you think this is all coincidence? You think this is all probability? Like, yeah, is it fact? No, it's not fact. Never said it was fact. Did I say he did it? No, I didn't say he did it. I'm just saying I'm looking at all the information and asking what the hell? Why doesn't this make sense? But I'm supposed to believe it's just a coincidence. Really? It doesn't fly for me. Egypt Mania catch and escape on the run and reported it. That guy was caught. Good on Doug. Cannot be coincidence. I don't think so, Lisa. I don't think there's no way in hell that could be a coincidence. Egypt Mania, escapee. Lisa Page, which suspect are you referring to? Lopez. Give me 1 second. I got to get something, and I'll tell you right when I get back, Lisa. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. All right. Sorry, there you go. Sorry, buddy. That's what happens when you got to pay the bills. So, Lisa, yeah, I seen the escapee. I seen the escapee. The Lopez wasn't the one that was the escapee. There's another Lopez. I'm trying to think of the name here. Something Lee. I'll have to look here. Give me a second. Yes, the fence guy, right. What ended up happening was that Doggone Live Northport went ahead and started looking into the fence guy, and he found out where the property was at. He found what he believed was the dad or the older brother to this guy. Ironically, they lived in that circle right there where Nancy Guthrie was at. Yeah, it's the guy at the fence. Absolutely. Says, Wilmo says, then I would start looking at them. Thanks for the question there, Lisa. Appreciate you. Yeah. It's on Doug's Live Northport. Go look at that. I'm telling you guys, it's very, very informational. My seatbelt. Egypt Mania says, here's the thing though. Black things show up white on night vision. The suspect was wearing all black and showed up white on a night vision. So that white Kia was indeed black. Yeah, I don't know, honestly, how that all works. That's a little bit out of my realm. I have heard what you're saying. I'm just telling you what it looked and what that picture looked like when it was literally expanded. Now, you're right. You're right as far as I've heard that theory before. And I can't truly give you a reason why or how come or, how does that work? Because I don't know. All I know is that the white Kia that went hauling ass in front of the house and the white Kia that was at that place where the guy was trying to get over the fence looked identical. You know what I'm saying? Once again, it cannot be coincidence. No doubt about it. Appreciate the question. Egypt Mania, appreciate the question. Absolutely, in the comment. Thank you so much. Guys, if you like the live, please subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Just let you know when I'm going live. Wilmo says, I don't believe anyone is cleared until someone goes to jail. I agree, wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly, without a doubt. You can't, especially when you can't even give information to clear that individual. How in the hell does that happen out of nowhere? Somebody becomes what? Cleared because of what? You follow me? Makes no sense. I just gave you reasons why TC cannot be cleared until they show he's the last person to see Nancy alive other than the perps or perp. He's the last one to see her alive. So if he's the last one to see her alive, how can anyone say that he's cleared when there is no footage, no video, no still picture, nothing of him dropping her off? All they got is the garage door that went up and a garage door that went down 2 minutes later. You follow me? The only reason why the sheriff said he was cleared was to let some heat off of him in case he wasn't involved. Yeah, I could see that. And you know, sometimes, don't misunderstand me, everybody. Sometimes law enforcement will go ahead and they will tell people that they are cleared because they want them to relax. They want them to go ahead and let the guard down and then make that fatal mistake, whether it's a text, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a whatever. Make a mistake and then they got you. That has been happened in the past where people have let their guard down. So it's not something that's unusual. But when I hear people talking about, well, you know, the sheriff said it was cleared. Well, the sheriff said they were cleared. Well, the sheriff said, that doesn't mean jack to me. As a law enforcement, in my expertise, that means nothing to me. And as you well know, what did the FBI say who took over the case? They ain't nobody cleared, right? Common sense, everybody. It's just there. Was TC in the beginning, but what he has to gain? Okay, I thought it was TC at the beginning, but what does he have to gain? Well, down the road, when everything is, basically comes out that he is done, like not him, but when Nancy is declared legally deceased, okay, there's a process, and inevitably the family is going to get the estate, whoever's on the will or whatever, and at that point, all that goes to whoever she left it to. Now, I don't know who she literally had the will in. Some say it was Annie and Tommaso. That's what some had said. Some reported. Now, once again, take everything I'm telling you with a grain of salt, but it was reported that Nancy and Tommaso, because they lived right there next to her and they were the last ones to basically take care of her. Okay? She helped. Supposedly it was reported that she helped them get their house. She helped them get their house by giving them $225,000 and it just depends on who she has in her will, right? And what she has in her will. Siblings, yay, said hi. How you doing, siblings? Yay. Good to have you. Lisa Page says, is TC MAGA or Dem? I don't know. I don't know that answer. I would say probably Dem, because that's what Nancy was, and that's what Savannah is. So I would say it would make sense that he would have been, but that doesn't mean anything. But I'm just saying I would think, because I don't think that Nancy would have liked him if he wasn't. In all honesty, I don't know, to be honest, but that's a good question. Interesting. Ali Moss, they just keep all with info. We never know. Yeah, Ali, there's some things they have to keep, but there's a lot of things they could have gave the people, at least to give them the confidence that they were still on the case, and on the case, hard and strong, that would have been nice, because then the people would have felt a little bit more probably that Sheriff Nano's Pima County Sheriff's Office is literally looking out for their well-being. And sometimes you can't lose that support of the people that you represent, because when you lose that support, you're not getting it back. It's going to be a long time before you get it back. And that's just a fact. Didn't mean to make a rhyme, but that is the fact. It takes a long time to get that back. Give me 1 second, everybody. All right. So now we have Lisa Page says, because Nancy was an outspoken as she should be, in my opinion. Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. She was very outspoken, according to many people. Egypt Mania, Nanos cleared the family far too fast, no doubt. He also said during the ONKY presser that his people were at Annie's house around 7 p.m. the night before. Why? So Nancy was reported missing 7 p.m. She was supposed to be there having dinner at the same time. That makes sense, right? Right? Because she was there having dinner till 9:30, 9:50 is when she got dropped off. You're right. Absolutely. Lisa, I definitely agree, Egypt. Wilmo, if when they found the car and it turned out to be a boyfriend and a girlfriend fight, that would have been the end of Ellie looking at the car and those people. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's not always about getting, literally having the suspect. Sometimes it's about eliminating people. You eliminated people from the equation. You eliminate them so that you narrow it down. And then when you get to that people that you just cannot literally, you cannot just find anything, then that's who you hone in and you put all your chips in there to hone in on that. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Sandra Vela says, hi, how you doing, Sandra? Good to have you. Lisa, do me a favor and pass this all to your followers and people that you follow. Do me that favor, everybody. Share this to your followers if you like the live. I appreciate you and appreciate everybody. Nice to have you in here, Sandra. Lisa says, like the cops that sent the boy back with Jeffrey. Right. Oh, I remember that. Got an interesting story on that one too. But yes, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, you know, smooth talkers, that's just the way it seems. You know, if you're a smooth talker and you got that personality, man, you can sell freaking anything. No doubt about it. Even a Hoover and a Kirby vacuum back in the day, if anybody knows about that. Whammo noon. Sandra, Lisa, my thoughts exactly. Sandra Velez, Lisa. Copy that. Get it. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you guys. If you guys know me, I would really, truly appreciate it. Just trying to build a channel. Just giving you perspectives from a law enforcement mentality. That's what I bring to the table. Who's this? Mr. George says, I want facts, not theories. Well, my friend, you're not going to get any facts right now currently. The only facts you're going to get is that Nancy was taken. That's a fact. The only other facts you're probably going to get is that, she had a pacemaker, because we know she had a pacemaker. And my point is, everybody wants the facts. Everybody wants facts. That's what everybody shoots for, is facts. Mr. George, everybody shoots for facts. Just sometimes it's just not that simple. It is not that simple. But I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate that. And thank you for that comment, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate you. Wilmo, why would they go back for the body? Because they really didn't. Maybe there was DNA. Maybe they had, DNA from the blood. Maybe there was DNA in the car from the blood drippings. And they didn't want to take a chance on being exposed. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very interesting how that plays out. Give me 1 second. So, see, that's the thing. We'd all love to have facts, because facts makes everything simple. That's why these type of cases are so complex because it's just hard to get all the facts that you need. And you have to have facts or or very strong circumstantial evidence, very strong to have convictions. Thank you for that, Lisa. Thumbs up. Appreciate you. Wemo, thank you. Why would they go back to get the body? Like I said, it could have DNA, blood droppings, maybe where they handle it. You know, I can't imagine that they were going to drive down the road with all that gear they had on, whoever the perps were, right? Remember all that stuff they had on? I can't imagine, because they stick out like a sore thumb. Even with cars passing by at night, you stick out like a sore thumb, right? So they're not going to have all that stuff on. Maybe they took it off, and then only to run into the situation that literally now they're in. You know, oh my God, they didn't anticipate. You got to remember, this was a ransom. This was a abduction for ransom, kidnapping. You choose that word you want to use. They took her to gain money. And they lost when she passed. All the plans just went haywire. Everything went crazy. Why? Because that's what happens when plans go wrong. You can't foresee something like that happening, you know? And so that's what happens. Lisa, yes, Devil Dog, I follow. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Lisa. Sandra Velez, and cleaning up what they can. Absolutely. That's why I think they cleaned up the vehicle, wiped everything down as best they can, and then sent that sucker down a little gully ravine or something where there was maybe some trees and posts, and let that sucker just literally, that's just my opinion. It's not fact, just opinion. But see, if they knew where that vehicle was taken by the insurance company, and they knew what salvage yard, because here's the thing, folks, insurance companies don't say, we're going to come pick up the vehicle, and then, hey, bring it to, just an example, bring it to Farmers Insurance downtown. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to say, take it to this salvage yard, and they're going to send one of their adjusters to go out there and look at it to make sure it is literally totaled. Okay, they may even tell them, hey, they may have told LD he needed to get an accident report number, because it was going to be a payout, you know, because if it's totaled, they're going to have to pay. And most insurance, even if it's on private property, most insurance will say, go call the cops and get a accident report number, you know. That's not far-fetched. See, by finding where that vehicle was taken, they could still go back. They could still run forensics, hopefully, if it wasn't, you know, compact smash. They could still find forensics. They could still, you know, check for you know, blood. They could check for fingerprints. Excuse me. Excuse me, everybody. They could still check for all of those things, right? Literally, they could check for all of that if they knew where the vehicle was. I don't know if they did or they didn't. I've just never heard anybody say this. That's what really irritates the hell out of me. In order for DNA to be discovered and profiled, it needs to have at least 30% of greater composition. Yes. Yes, it does. Say there's one victim for a suspect and there's a mixture of a DNA. Okay, that would mean the victim could have 30%, which is detectable, and the other 70% is divided amongst the 4 other suspects. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that, and hey, I take your word, no doubt. You're very welcome, Lisa. Sandra Velez following. Thank you so much, Sandra. I appreciate you. That was earlier. Never mind. I know where we're talking about LD now. Sorry. Inconsistent job stability. That's him all the way, through and through. No, ask all the questions you want. I want you to ask all the questions. I want you guys to ask anything you can. If there's anything I can, shed some light into, or why I think the way I think, then that would go a long ways to understanding what's really happening here, right? Ask away, ask everything you can. Pretty much, Sandra, he did tell on himself by just how he conducted himself in those interviews, no doubt. And then he admitted to him when he was asked by Brianna Whitney. Lisa Page says, learning about YouTube chatting. Yeah, no doubt, right? Yeah, no doubt. And then telling the cops, you can go ahead and look at my phone. It's in my room on my dresser. Who does that? Who says that? Give me 1 second, everybody. So yeah, everybody, I mean, there's a lot of good questions in here. A lot of comments, a lot of good questions. No doubt about it. It's awesome. I love being able to just try to help people see. Do I know everything? Of course not. Of course not. I don't know everything. Never claim to know everything. But I know quite a bit as to how it works. And sometimes knowing how something works is good. No doubt about it. Egypt Mania says he hasn't done a dang thing to help find her. Yeah, all of those comments are correct. I mean, the idea that he told him he didn't take his phone. Who does that in a world that we live on our phones? It seems like, Egypt Media says he hasn't done a dang thing to help find her. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. He hasn't done anything to find her. And I really do think that the FBI has a person or persons of interest. There's no doubt in my mind. I honestly believe that wholeheartedly, that they have people in mind. The problem is that, they're not saying nothing. So everybody's trying to figure it out on the fly. And that's what makes it kind of difficult. Yeah, Lisa says, so sad and frustrating, no doubt. Lopez is a fence guy. Yes. And you know what's ironic? What's ironic is that when you look at all these potential suspects, they all look alike. Honestly, if you go look at the shape of their face, if you go look at like the mustache when they had it, other than LD when he shaved it for the interview, but when you go look at the face structure, the head structure, the mouth, even some of the body type, man, they look so identical. It's really, this is why I'm saying there has to be a connection, and I don't know what that connection is. That's my next thing, is trying to figure out where they all meet. I know Sleuth Intuition had a lot of information, but there's a lot of connections with a lot of these people. Like even the people, remember up at Nancy's house when he was out there, and then you had those people dressed in Gothic with the lady with her shorts, with her ass hanging out and everything. Remember that? Sleuth Intuition, I think it was Sleuth or Monk, one of them had a thing where he was like piecing pieces together as to who was affiliated or how so-and-so knew so-and-so. Like somebody knew, you know, well, I think her name is Layla Day or something, and she was with, LD, and they knew Layla Day knew the girl that was dressed in black with their ass hanging out, and then so person knew this person and that person knew this. It was like almost like a connection, literally a connection. And I had to find that, but it was really informative, no doubt. Gene's in the house. How you doing, Gene? Good to have you. Amen. Egypt Mania, absolutely agree. Lisa, I'm beyond tickled with this case. And Nanos is general for not doing anything to help bring justice to others. He's disgusting, pathetic, and needs to go. I think they recalled him. I think they got the numbers. I know in the lack of confidence, they voted, if I'm not mistaken, like 241-0. I mean, that's speaking volumes, man. But I do think, I don't think Nanos did anything purposely. I think where he failed was he did not keep the people, his constituents, his people that he takes care of in his county. He didn't keep them abreast of what was going on. They lost their faith because they didn't see anything being done. They didn't hear anything being done. And therefore, yeah, he pretty much did it to himself. Sandra Veller says, how many devil dogs we got in this live aside for myself? We don't have a lot, but we have quite a bit. And the fact of the matter is we're growing. We're growing. I mean, Gene will tell you we're growing. And you all, when you guys subscribe, you guys are literally my devil pups. Remember that. You are all my devil pups. And if you know why I say devil pups, is because when we get young people that want to come into the Marine Corps, that's what we call them. Young. I'm not talking about people who join us boot camps. They're called something totally different. But I'm talking about young people are called devil pups. You know, little kids that come in and they want to be a Marine. When they get older, you know, they become a devil pup. So you guys are all my devil pups, you know. But yeah, that's just how I roll, man. I try to give you guys everything that I know, and I try not to hold back anything because there's nothing to hold back. I mean, we're not getting a lot of information. You know what I mean? But thank you, Sandra. Appreciate you. Sandra says, you know, Egypt Mania, I can't wait until this next week and when the commission reads the results of what Nanos is supposed to bring with his lawyers. Yeah. Here's another thing, everybody. Just on the lawyer thing. Here's another thing that I didn't even mention, and it's important. So, remember when LD and his mother got given their search warrants, right, to search? Does anybody even know what was the reasoning in that search warrant? Because you have to have probable cause or reasons to ask a judge to sign off for a warrant. You can't just go get a warrant and say, I want a warrant to search this. You got to have reasonable belief that this person may be involved, right? You have to have probable cause. You have to have evidence. I would like to know what that evidence was. What evidence did the Pima County Sheriff's Office feel they had that would merit them to get a search warrant? That's interesting because I haven't seen anything out there. And if anybody has it, by all means, send it to my email. Send it to my email. By all means, send it to my email. I don't think anybody has it. Literally. I say no one has it. They have it. I just don't think they have shared it with the people. And that's public record. FYI, that is public record. I would like to know what they felt this person had that they determined they could get a search warrant for. Because I tell you what, that would open a lot of eyes. Literally a lot of eyes. Hey, Gene, since you're in here, do me a favor. Put out my email address for everybody to let them know if they get any information, they can go ahead and get a hold of me. If you're still in here, Gene, do me that favor, please. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Do me that favor, Gene, if you can do that. Lisa Page, yes, sir. Thank you, Lisa. I hope this has been very informative for everybody. I think it's, look, I wouldn't be doing this if, so for you all who don't know, I had a sister back in 1988, 87, 88 that went missing with her daughter. Okay, I'm just gonna give you just a tidbit and then I'm done. Not done with the thing, but done with tell you anything more about this. So I had a sister, the last time I seen her was 1987, Christmas of 1987. We had first time ever drew names for Christmas. She got me, my sister got me a case of Old Milwaukee and a year subscription of Sports Illustrated. At that moment, I did not know that'd be the last time I seen her. When I went to boot camp in the Marine Corps and I came back in 88, I asked where she was at and they said, oh, she's not here. And I said, oh, okay, well, I know, but where's she at? And they said, no, we don't know where she's at. Now, in the culture, it's not uncommon if somebody just wants to move and get away or whatever the case may be. The idea is that no one knew where she went, and she had a, I don't know, 8, 9-year-old daughter at the time. And that is one of the reasons I got into law enforcement. And believe me, I did everything as legal as I could. I did everything possible to turn every stone to try to find where she had gone. And we're now in 2026. We have never heard a word from her since. So don't know what happened, but that's the reason why I got into the law enforcement. That is part of the reason. And that is one of the reasons that this case means a lot. We all have loved ones that we care about. We all have loved ones that we really, truly could see someone we care about go through that. So I tell you guys that just so you understand that that's what motivates me, okay? That's why I do what I do. That's why my life has been around public service for God knows how long. And so yeah, there you have the reason why this case means something to me. This is why you can understand why I chose the field of law enforcement when I got out of the Marine Corps. This is why you can see why I really try to cross my T's and dot my I's, okay? That's where I stand. With that, I'm not going to talk no more about that because it's just something I don't like talking about. So that's where we're at. All right, moving on along. Yes, I will spread the word. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you. Michael, hello from Liverpool. Hoorah. Great to have you, Michael. Liverpool. Love it. Love it. One more of it. Let's get it, everybody. If you are not a subscriber, subscribe for free. Doesn't cost you anything. Just let you know when I'm going live. Make it happen, everybody. We are growing. This devil dog _88 is going to take off, and it is already taking off. So I appreciate all of you. Lisa Page says, I'm in Northwest Ohio. I don't know about them or Devil Dog. Yes, yes. Northwest Ohio. That is too close to my neck of the woods. No doubt about it. I am also in Northwest Ohio. Semper Fi, everybody. Yuli is here. Good to have you, Yuli. Nice to have you. Thank you so much. Don't forget, click like, guys. Hit that like button. Ask away. Ask your questions. Yuli, good to have you. Thank you for being here. Amen. Always like hearing from all of you. Yuli, you're just another one that I love hearing from. Christine from Chicago. Wow. Awesome. Been to Chicago a few times. Absolutely. Oh my Lord. Thank you so much, Christine. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. God bless you. All those people, user, all those people you were talking about all have connections with Annie's husband. Was reported in other YouTube channels. There you go. So, look, it's not uncommon for people to know one another. It is uncommon for people in bigger cities, because in bigger cities, you're just a number, right? You are just a number. That's all you are, a number. And I lived in California, loved when I was in the Marine Corps. You are just a number, okay? But the idea, literally the idea that all these people, or I shouldn't say all, a lot of these people have a connection to one another doesn't surprise me one bit. Like I said, I told you all who my top 3 are, and I'm not saying they did it. I'm just saying, as far as people of interest, if I was the FBI, if I was an investigator of Pima County, my ass would be literally investigating it all over again. Sometimes, like I said, you got to go back to the beginning, because it's okay to go to the beginning. People think that if you go back to the beginning, that, oh, well, they missed something. They made a mistake. No. It has nothing to do with that. It's that you're seeing something a little bit differently. You're starting to see some. This is why a lot of times when we have cold cases, right? We have cold cases. Somebody will come and grab that file. They'll look at it and they'll see something that just doesn't make sense. Like, well, why wasn't this done or that done? Next thing you know, they're solving this cold case. Why? Because they see something differently than how you would see it. You know what I mean? So it's always great to go back to the beginning, and reassess it so that you can find what's going on. Egypt Mania. I lived in Tonto Basin for 4 years back in the 90s and went to Payson High School. Often went to Tucson to visit my parents' friends. It became a cesspool under Nano's nose, and he doesn't care. And here's my other thought. Do you remember how everybody was talking about, like, people are bringing up that Nano's had a checkered past when he worked in, what was it? Correct me somebody if I got it wrong, but he worked for El Paso PD. And remember how they said he was involved in some type of abuse of force on someone, like literally put him in a serious injuries and whatnot. And they all said, they found out that they say that he apparently lied on his application and so forth. But here's what I want you guys all to know. And I'm not defending Nanos. Don't misunderstand me one bit. I think he's got enough on his plate. You don't need me to add to it. But somebody recommended him to take over that position as a sheriff. And that was the previous sheriff. So when people say, how could he have lied? The real question is, how could they have not saw that when they did a background? Because you got to do a background. I mean, that's a very high position. So why wasn't a background done? Was this, and I'll tell you right now, sheriff's departments, they're always like the good old boy system, the good old boy network, right? They're always like the good old boy. That's how they work. That's how they work. And make no mistake, the sheriff's departments have a lot of power. So my question then is, yes, if he lied and they want to, recuse him and take him out and the whole not, get rid of him, I get it. I totally understand it. And he probably deserves it. But let's not miss the people who didn't do their job and who recommended him for that position, okay? Because truth be told, anybody who did a background on him would have found that information and would have said, oh, no, we can't have this, right? So a lot of it goes to the people who did the background on him. Who was it? Or did they just kind of like, it's not a big deal, There's a lot of people to blame in this, no doubt about it. I'll tell you that right now. Not in the Nancy Guthrie case, what I'm saying. I'm talking about just as in Nanos himself, Gene, sure, give me a few. Thank you, Gene. Gene's going to put out my email. It's a text. It will have everything for you. Send me an email. Let me know when you guys got facts or you guys got information or someone goes missing in your neck of the area. Let me know. I would love to go ahead and hear from you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much, Gene. Appreciate you. Egypt Mania. I'm truly very sorry to hear that, and thank you so much for your service. Egypt Mania. Thank you, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything you contribute to this channel. And it's not a day goes by that I don't think about it. I think about it a lot. And I even every now and then I'll pick up something and start trying to see what I can gather. But yeah, that's a long time ago, and I leave it all in God's hands. That's why I have my faith that I have. Okay, that's why I believe what I believe. But yes, that was the last time I saw her. And yeah, thank you so much for the nice, wonderful comments. I appreciate you. Lisa, much hearts back to you. Thank you so much. Egypt Mania Semper Fi. Ooh, raw. You got it, my brother. Semper Fi. And welcome everybody for becoming a devil pup. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you, my little devil pups. You guys are amazing. You really are. And sometimes it works great. Sometimes, you know what? That's all you need is a little uplifting. No doubt about it. Gene, morning everyone. I am working today. Just got on to break. Hoorah. Gene is one of our first and biggest followers, and I support her wholeheartedly. No doubt about it. Yeah, you want to talk about a mishap, Christian Carlin, no doubt about it. You're exactly 100% right. They should have blocked off that whole property line from the front to the back, in all honesty, of Nancy Guthrie. That was, in my opinion, pathetic. I mean, that's 101, okay? I've never heard, when people were talking about before we knew that the doors in the back were open, the two doors, right? When Savannah went ahead and let us all know that. Before we even knew that, I was always asking myself, okay, doors, you would think, okay, they came into the front, left through the back, or they came into the back, left through the back. Doors were propped open, held up by some flower plots of Nancy's. And in that whole time, I asked myself, literally, that whole time, I'm wondering, okay, well, why am I not hearing any footprints? Or why am I not hearing about that they have put some cast and footprints, right? If somebody came into the back, they had to leave footprints unless they walked on the rocks, right? Unless they walked on the little rocks around the house, you would think somebody would have left a footprint somewhere. They left the footprints at the front door, remember, with the little blood droppings. If you look closely, you'll see a little foot pattern. Not a complete pattern, but it is a pattern. You would see that. You would see that. So, and you do see it when you expand that picture of that front with those droplings of blood. Okay. So the idea is that I didn't hear anything about, was there tire marks in the back of the house? I'm talking about the back, not the front. Was there footprints, on anywhere around there, of the back of her house? Because they could have done casts. They could have laid plaster down, done a cast, lifted it. They could have done, pictures of footprints, but apparently there was none because they never say anything about it. And those are crucial. So it does make sense that they came out through the front, obviously. I did have my theory that maybe they came, they came in and they left through the back, but they just wrapped around the house. They wrapped around the house and came to the front when they called for the guy, whoever was in the vehicle, to pull up so they can get out and dodge. I did think that they came out for the back, but it's very possible that they didn't. And that's understandable. It's very possible that they didn't. And the one thing that I keep going back to is maybe they didn't, because I haven't heard of any footprints. I haven't heard of any casts. We're not looking for people with certain type of shoes. You know what I mean? It all makes a difference. But no doubt about that. They should have blocked everything from her property line all the way around her house. And I'll be honest, I know people have a hard time with, the road is the public and this, and I get all that. But if I'm working literally, if I'm working this case, I'm putting blockades up that the only people that are coming through here are the people that live in this area. That's it. That's the only people. Passerbys are not going to be allowed to be here. There's too much happening, and we have to get it under control and make sure nothing, absolutely nothing, gets compromised. I'm just saying, that's what I would have done. Gene, hi, Christine. I'm 70 miles from Chicago by Wisconsin. There you go, Christine. Gene is 70 miles from Wisconsin. From Chicago by Wisconsin. Hoorah. Could almost throw a rock that far. Kidding. But yeah, I mean, that's where we're at, everybody. That's what's happening. Okay, Paige, I will call you Paige. Thank you. We will call you Paige. Amen. Thank you so much for letting us know. Yeah, there is a lot of Lisas. Hey, everyone, here is a twist. What if the porch guy was trying to cover the camera because they were starting to bring Nancy out, or already did? Therefore, the car in the background was ready to go. That's very possible. Very possible, Gene. Very possible. I could see that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I always said it was like 3 people that were involved in all this, but I could very well see 4 people. As that one meeting has stated, I could see that. Absolutely. You got your driver down the road, lights off, waiting, pulled over to the side, right? You got your person who's watching for traffic over here on this other side. And then you got your person at the front and your person at the back. Sound makes sense to me. Just remember, it's not always what you see. A lot of times it's what you don't see that are the different makers, literally. It's the difference. The littlest things, the littlest nugget makes the difference on whether these perp or perps are caught. Paul just said hi. How you doing, Paul? Welcome. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. And everybody, so I don't forget, happy Easter weekend. Happy Easter weekend, no doubt. And it means a lot more than me just saying happy Easter weekend. It is a very blessed and great day. Tomorrow is a beautiful and wonderful day. Just want to let you know. Yes, Jean is one of our unofficial mods. Absolutely. Appreciate her work, no doubt about it. Fantastic. Egypt Mania says, oh snap, honestly wasn't paying attention to you had until just now. I'm at times. You're all good, man. You're all good. 50th anniversary, no doubt. 250th anniversary, no doubt about it. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Lisa says, Paul, 2525. Hoorah. Gene, hi, Paul. Good to have you in here, Paul. If you are not a subscriber, subscribe and like. Do me that favor. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm not asking for anything from y'all. All I'm asking is just get involved in the conversations. Throw your ideas. Throw them out there so that maybe it could help. Hell, it could help me figure something out, or could help someone else figure something out. You know? No idea is a bad idea. Simple as that. But thank you so much, Paul, for being here. Gene says, happy Easter to everyone. Lady Cat's in the house, said hi. How you doing, Lady Cat? Good to have you. Once again, if you're new, don't be afraid or hesitant to be a devil pup. Be a devil pup in this channel. This is Devil Dog _88. It doesn't cost you anything. Nothing is asked from anybody except participation. Get involved. Ask the questions. Be respectful. That's it. Laddie Cat. Hoorah. Thank you so much, Laddie Cat. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. So happy for all you guys being here. No doubt about it. Brian Enton. Okay, what we got with Brian Enton? Says Egypt Mania. What's up with Brian Enton? Let's see. Brian Enton got an interview with an insider who revealed that the investigative team and leader was inexperienced. Yeah, I heard that from the beginning. And was hired by Nanos. So the lead investigator is a friend of a friend. See, that's how the sheriff's departments all work. That's really how they work. Because it's an elected position, they put in the people that they feel will literally be their yes man or yes woman. Okay, that's just how it works. And the idea is that majority of that sheriff's department is like, if I'm not mistaken, it's like only like 2 to 4 years experience. As an average, 2 to 4 years experience. And that's crazy. And I'll tell you why that's crazy. Because sheriff's departments, usually a lot of people come to sheriff's departments, you know, they want a more kind of like a laid back type, if you will. It's more kind of like easier going than a busy PD, police department, or, you know, just depending. But a lot of people want to come over, and over the course of time, you always make friends with all law enforcement. Seems to rub elbows with each other, right? And have a good, you know, a good rapport. Some better than others. And next thing you know, people will come over and they'll bring a lot of experience. Unfortunately, here, from my understanding, there's only like a 2 to 4 year experience, and that's nothing for a sheriff's department. No doubt about it. And you're right. It wouldn't doubt me that was Nanos' friend of a friend, put him as an investigator who has no idea. That's why at the beginning of this whole ordeal, in my opinion, in the beginning of this whole ordeal, when this happened, they should have got the FBI involved ASAP. Because this is not about a popularity contest. This is not about literally, oh, we can handle this. No, it's not about that. It's about a person who's gone missing, an 84-year-old lady who's gone missing. And most likely looks like it is a kidnap. Okay? So, for ransom, that is. So, you know, that mistake of not utilizing all your resources It's crazy. You always use your resources. You always go ahead and use those resources, you know, especially when you know you are literally climbing uphill, because it's not that simple, especially when you don't have experienced personnel. That's just common sense, folks. But yeah, thank you so much for that. Appreciate that, Egypt Mania. Christine says, stay away from medium info. Comes from the dark side. Don't play with even if it sounds good. No, just for the record, everybody, I don't roll that way. I don't entertain any of that. When I was scrolling the other night trying to figure out like who, what, when, where, I stumbled over this person, and it was ironic. It was just like that person was speaking to me, well, not speaking to me personally, don't misunderstand me, not speaking to me personally, but that her comments were telling me exactly what I had suspected from one of my persons of interest, who was my third one on my list. I only have 3, and it just was ironic. So it was an eye-opener. But no, I don't get involved in stuff like that. Look, I'm sure people do, and God bless them, and if they, you know, if that's what it is. I don't know enough about that type of gifts or punishments or whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know enough about it to make an opinion. I just know that when you're an investigator, you're looking for every opportunity to gain any type of information. And in this case, that's what I got. But thank you so much, Christine. I appreciate you. Egyptian Mania says, can't see that and get that, but this leader didn't have any experience at all, according to the secret insider. Contributing factor as to why the crime scene is contaminated so bad, let alone letting family move into her house. Yeah, no, I found it very shocking. Make no mistake, and that's well said, Egypt Mania. I found it very shocking that literally people would have gone ahead and literally sorry, just give me a second. To the idea to not secure the whole perimeter in the back of the house is just unacceptable. I mean, that's the one thing you do, and you do quickly. You do quickly. You don't want anything to be contaminated, because once you do that, you're fighting up a hill, no doubt. And then the other aspect to it is that on the flip side, you're not really getting, and cannot. And when you let people move back into that home, everything's done. You better have everything and everything. Just like when they gave back, and I do believe they gave back TC and Annie's car back. Man, they had it forever, going through everything, right? Okay, same thing with Daly. I think they only had his car, the Rover, for I think it was like 4 or 5 hours or something like that. So just the idea that once you let people start moving around in that realm, everything's done. If you don't have anything and you try to go back there later, it's done. You've done screwed everything up, you know. So that's why it's so crucial. That was like kind of like with the Patino case, if you remember, when they wanted to burn down that place, right, because of what had happened. It's not that simple. You know, you can't just burn it down until, I mean, literally they hadn't even gone to court and they wanted to get rid of it because it was a bad eyesore. But there's some things you just cannot do. No doubt. Thank you for that comment. Appreciate that, Egypt Mania. You guys have been amazing. Amazing, amazing. Love you all. You guys are doing shit. You guys, hey, I have no complaints, man. You guys have been awesome. So that's where we're at. Those are the people that I think, if I was in, doing the investigating team, I would definitely go call them back, go get them, bring them into my setting, and do another major interview with these people. That's what I would do. Okay, give me a second, everybody. Right them back. Anybody else have any thoughts on what you might think, or does anybody have any different people of interest that you think might be somebody that is worth looking at? Laddie Cat, could Tommaso take her home, pulled back in front of the pool house, wait till she fell asleep, and gone around the front to make it look like... Yeah, I mean, at this point, Laddie Cat, shoot, I mean, that's very probable. Here's the thing, because these things are so probable, gosh, there's so many things, and I know that one of us is going to hit it right on the money, okay? I know one of us is going to hit it on the money. One of us is going to be like, man, how did I not see that, right? But yeah, I think that's very possible. Here's the thing. I don't understand why they just didn't have any video of Tommaso pulling in when he dropped her off. Why? Cameras were still intact, right? Supposedly he got there at 9:50, 9:45, 9:50. So why wasn't there any cameras? They got the still footage or video. They were able to pull everything else. That's what really bothers me. And then the sheriff wants to rule the family cleared. Don't make sense to me, everybody. It really just don't make sense to me. Don't make sense at all. Yuli said hi. Good to have you, Yuli. Thank you for being here. Egypt Mania says, sitting her thinking on that, Laddie Cat. I mean, it just makes no sense. But you're right. It's very possible. Because at this point, what do we have? Right? What do we have? We have nothing. Nothing that's really opening the door. Nothing that's giving us that, that aha, that's what it is, or aha, it could be that. We don't have that. We don't have that at all. Sitting here thinking on that. Thank you, Lady Cat. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Egypt Mania here. Thank you so much, Egypt Mania. Yeah, it's just one of those things where, does anybody else have anybody that you think, other than the three that I have explained to you about, persons of interest, has any one of you guys got any other person that you think it may be? What say you? Tell me. Anything. Man, it's getting hot here in Ohio. It is now 77 degrees. Wait, no, 72 degrees, but it's getting hot. No doubt about it. It is getting hot. Paige says, I agree 100% with those three. I mean, I'm telling you, I just don't know how else. They once again, they all look very similar. All of them look very similar. It just makes no sense to me. None whatsoever. And yet, the sad thing is, are they even being talked to? Are they being investigated? Are they being, is anybody even communicating? I mean, what is going on? And it's those little things that the sheriff could have said that would have let people's minds at ease by saying, yeah, we looked into so-and-so, TC, and we were able to establish that he did arrive at this time. We were able to establish that we got footage of him pulling in. We got him pulling out at X amount of time. Nancy closed the garage door at X time. It appears like everything seems to be on the up and up. Okay. At least people would have said, at least they're checking these leads, right? At least they're following up on these leads. But when you don't give anybody nothing, man, I mean, yeah, you don't last long in this business. You just don't, especially as an elected official or as a someone who is hired by a council or whatnot. It just doesn't work. You don't last. There's another lady that looks just like Nancy that's also missing not too far away. Okay, from over there in Arizona. Who is, do you know her name, or do you know, where did she go missing at, or where was she taken from? Egyptian Mania, let me know, Paige. I just kept going back to those feminine eyes. LD's eyes fits it. Yeah, he does. I'm not gonna lie, he does. Supposedly not a suspect and cleared, but not by FBI. Yeah, no, he's not cleared. I can tell you that right now. There ain't no way in hell he's cleared. Arizona, okay. And do you remember how old she was? By any chance, Paige? You're exactly right, Egypt Mania. No doubt about it. He ain't cleared. He ain't cleared. And, yeah, I don't even think that was clear, oh, we're just trying to go. No, I don't think they were trying to let his guards down. I think they literally misspoke. They literally should not have done and said any of that. If you got her name, let us know, because I'd like to, do some search on that and see what's going on, what's out there. Absolutely. How about any other theories on possible people that you guys might think fit the bill in this whole thing? Anybody? 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 Oh. See, that's where we're at. Looking it up, the woman who disappeared shortly after Nancy. Be right back. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that. And thanks, Paige, for bringing that up. Yeah, this is a very, it's got to be hard on the family because, especially with, Easter coming up and, I mean, let's face it. Nancy was a grandma. She was a grandma. She was a mother. She seemed to be a really good person. I didn't know her personally, but she seemed to be a very good person. So yeah, it's just unfortunate and sad that this had to happen, or this not that it had to, that this did happen. Paige says Google says Nancy Woodrum. Okay, Nancy Woodrum. Interesting. What is this? Do these perps have a fascination with the name Nancy? There's a lot. I mean, Arizona. I'm not gonna lie to everybody. Arizona is very high capital for stuff like this, murders and all that kind of thing. It's very high. I mean, the desert is a literally breathing ground for this kind of stuff. Several similarities. I wonder. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that. If you get a chance, send me. If you get a chance, Paige, send me a message on my email and let me know so I don't forget that. If not, I can go back and look at it. But yeah, interesting. Very interesting. She got unalived by her partner. Oh, okay. So they have a person of interest per se. Interesting. Very interesting. She got unalived by her painter. Oh, you know what? I did hear about that. I couldn't remember the name, but I did hear about that. He was a painter, yes, and something about, oh God, I did hear a little bit about that. I did. Thank you for bringing that up. Give me a second, everybody. Wow. Very, very interesting. Nancy Woodrum, yes. It was her painter that did it. Wasn't he was he of Mexican descent, if I recall right? Not that it's a bad thing that I'm saying, Mexican people. I'm just saying I think if it's the same one, I think he was of Mexican descent. Janie, she just was the one that the secretary. Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. Okay, you're the one that I heard it from, Jean. Yes. She was the one that the secretary solved. Right. Got it. Just send it to me anyway. Go ahead, Paige, because I just sent it to me anyway. Because here's the thing, I didn't even think about that until you said painter, and then I remember that Jean had also told me that. Just send it to me. Yes, yes. I mean, that's interesting, Nancy Woodrum. A lot of similarities. I thought they were about the same age too, if I'm not mistaken. Interesting. So has anybody else got any theories, ideas that seems to, or you think might be a person that we really want to check out? Anybody? Any takers? I don't mean it the way it sounds, but anybody? Anybody at all? Interesting. Yeah, those three people that I mentioned, in my experience, are going to be three people that I hone in on big time. And I'm going to watch every stinking movement, no doubt about it. Anonymous, morning devil pop, salute, my brother. Anonymous, there's a salute for you. Semper Fi, devil pop, hoorah. Amen. Yeah, I love the Marine Corps, no doubt about it. Love it. Want more of it. PT, drill sergeant, PT. Well, it's not really drill sergeant, because that's the Army. It'd be PT, drill sergeant, PT. Hell, I don't even know what they say anymore. It's a new corps. But yeah, that's interesting. Very, very interesting. Don't forget, everybody, click like, subscribe for free. Doesn't cost you anything. I'm telling you, this channel's growing. It's a good people, man. Good people with good intentions and good honesty, good information. And I tell you, in case God willing gets resolved,